this is Stacy Higginbotham with GigaOhm, and I'm here with Michelle Munson, the CEO and co-founder of Aspera, to talk about Aspera's latest product, which is Aspera On Demand. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, can you just tell us first off what you're doing here and what the news is today?
Absolutely. Aspera is launching a new product this week called Aspera On Demand for Amazon Web Services. It is a package of our server software and management console together as an AMI that can be loaded on demand and purchased through the Amazon DevPay system.
Okay, very cool. And kind of why is this exciting, and what is Aspera doing to help us kind of transfer information back and forth from the cloud?
That's a great question. So supposedly one of the biggest problems that users are facing in realizing the potential of clouds is transferring data. Transferring data to and from the cloud and also between cloud facilities. After all, most of the cloud apps are compute intensive and by nature involve large amounts of data. Aspera has developed a unique technology that provides high-speed transfer of data over long distance and really any type of IP network. And so the application here is to solve the bottleneck, to eliminate the bottleneck that exists in transferring data to and from the cloud and between Amazon sites.
Okay, so if I'm trying to transfer a gigabyte of data, a terabyte of data, how much faster does the Aspera solution, what does it do for me?
Great question. So first of all, the difference between Aspera and a standard transfer you might do with HTTP or FTP is that the Aspera protocol will fully utilize the available bandwidth, regardless of how far that transfer is going, how far you might be from the cloud, a node where you're uploading or downloading from. In the case of long distance transfers, the utilization of FTP or HTTP is very poor, and thus transfers are slow. So to give you a few examples of how much speed up that using the Aspera protocol can offer, let's say that you were transferring from across the United States to an Amazon node. Your transfers would typically go at about 1.5 megabits, a few megabits a second for typical networks, whereas if you had a 100 megabit per second connection, they would go about 100 times that speed with the Aspera protocol. So it makes it possible to transfer large amounts of data in short periods of time. One good benchmark we often demonstrate is moving a 10 GB file in under 5 minutes at full capacity of the Amazon connections that are provided.
Okay, and so distance, the further the information has to go, makes a difference in how fast you guys can transfer it using Aspera.
In our case, the transfer speed is the same regardless of distance. The problem is with traditional protocols, they slow down with network distance.
Okay, great. So what does this mean for a business if I'm looking to transfer my giant data sets into the cloud?
Yep. It's really the core business proposition here is the ability to actually get the data to the cloud in a practical period of time and to avoid, for instance, shipping it on physical media. And to give you a couple of examples, we work with customers in digital media, large Hollywood studios, as well as startups doing content distribution who are dealing with terabytes of data every day. We also work with life sciences companies that deal with large genomic sequences that also need to move back and forth. And it's quite practical at the bandwidth these companies have to move that data in minutes, hours, and certainly within a day.
Okay, so instead of using the postal system to send your
Exactly.
files to Amazon, you're going to use
Exactly.
Aspera.
Exactly.
So you need to have a client on your end, and then Amazon has it on their end.
Yes, so the Aspera On Demand product provides an Aspera endpoint in the Amazon cloud that one can bring up on demand, and then customers have an Aspera client of some type, which can be a free browser plugin up through a licensed enterprise server.
Okay, and so from a business perspective, if I'm taking this to the cloud, that means I can use it on demand.
Mm-hmm.
And you had also mentioned to me the possibility of later using it to charge customers for the bandwidth, well, for your customers to charge their customers for the bandwidth that they use. Can you tell me more about those?
Yes, certainly. So, I mean, the first economic advantage that the cloud offers is the ability to use resources on demand, elastically. And so instead of having to pay for your own server hardware or your Aspera server licenses or your own bandwidth, you can provision those at will, on demand, and simply pay for what you use. In addition to that, because all of the transfer capability is transparent and recorded, it's possible to take the Aspera reporting and tie that back to the Amazon charges that go with it, and then pass on those charges in a transparent way to the constituent users.
Okay, so can you give me some examples of customers using this or what it would look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So one particular class of customers that comes to mind are those involved in content aggregation and distribution. And this model is particularly advantageous to startups that don't have capital to dedicate to servers and infrastructure, but need to deal with large capacity of content. And two good examples that Aspera works with are Weala. They're a user of our enterprise server software in the Amazon cloud for content syndication and distribution, receiving content from many of the major studios, and also EMI Music, which does aggregation and also distribution of music files.
Okay, so Weala, what exactly happens from a endpoint to endpoint kind of perspective for them?
Well, there's really two parts to the process with Weala and then other possible users in terms of digital media. One part is to contribute content in the first place to the cloud-based service, which would be uploading it from an original content provider, such as a studio or a post-production house that works on their behalf, taking the or uploading it directly to Weala's service, running in the cloud. And then there's generally some content processing that goes on in terms of their service. The content is syndicated and made available to certain consumers to download, and then the other side can be an actual download of the content directly from the Aspera server as well.
Okay, and so if I take this out, a few years or maybe just a different business case, if I'm a content provider, I'm uploading this stuff to the cloud, so I'm paying for it only when I need it there in the cloud, and then if someone downloads it, like a partner downloads it, eventually I'll be able to charge them based on how much bandwidth they consumed plus whatever compute time they may have used, etc.
Sure, and first off, all the charges are loosely coupled in this way. Amazon and Aspera both have usage-based charges for the components of the service, and then the company that's providing the service can choose or not choose to decouple those charges and pass them on to their consumers however they see fit.
Do you see interest in creating such a kind of a billing model like that for content provider?
Certainly, and I think that the driving interest, first of all, is to take advantage of the elasticity, and then the second is the transparency to be able to pass that on, particularly in business where one business is doing business with other entities, and they both have a shared value in what's going on, such as a large studio broadcaster that's providing high value premium content to its distribution channels. Both of those parties have a financial interest in that transaction, and so it's natural to try to decouple those charges and to share in that.
Okay. And anything else, exciting things coming up for Aspera?
Absolutely. One other thing to think about for the future is getting content from any device back and forth to the cloud. And one of the new areas that we're working in is FAST for 3G networks. And we're showing at IBC next week in Amsterdam a new application for uploading files directly from the iPhone.
Okay, and FAST4 is your...
FAST is the Aspera transfer protocol, fast and secure protocol.
Fabulous. All right, and that would allow me to upload my video content from
directly
the iPhone?
From your iPhone.
And it would be faster for me as the end user.
That's right. Better bandwidth utilization and more consistent speeds than traditional FTP from the phone or an HTTP transfer from the phone.
Excellent. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.